to Too Many Hats podcast with your host with the most, Tony and Lavelle. Every morning from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. We also have Queen Watkins with Clock Dead. Tune in with us and have a great time. Let's talk about it right here. Too Many Hats podcast.
Top of the morning to you, my good people. Happy Friday. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, man. It's your host, the most, Tony Mays, Lavelle Salter. What it do, my guy?
What up?
I can't call it, man. Can't call it. I'm trying to call it, but I can't call it. I can't call it. I ain't see no tea out there this morning. That's why I didn't see no tea.
Oh, okay.
All right. Let me do this too. I want to give my little shouts out. StreamYard, boy, I'm telling you, StreamYard just coming on around the corner, man.
Mm-hmm.
They is really coming on around the corner. I ain't even mad at them, man. Stop that. Look at me. Come on in here. Come on in here, Miss Gwen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey
Good.
there.
Hi.
So let me give my shouts out, man. I want to give a shout out, first of all, to Miss Ronda Rousey, man. I heard her interview on the Breakfast Club, man. She's truly an astonishing. I mean, I always thought, like, when I first started to see her at the UFC, that she was a very great athlete, and then she kind of transitioned into movies. But she talked about her life in a way, man, that uh, you know I just respected, her interview on the Breakfast Club. But in a way, her great grandfather was a black man.
Mm.
His name was Dr. Alfred E. Watto. And he was a trailblazing figure in North America's medical field, being one of the first black physicians. He was born in Trinidad, and then he migrated to Canada and became a well-respected doctor, treating patients from diverse backgrounds, including those without access to medical care. And he was um, a strong advocate for civil rights. So shout out to Ronda Rousey, man, for having a little Afro Negro in her. And also her grandmother, actually her mother, Anna Marie Damaris, was a real renowned judo competitor. That's kind of how she got into judo. And a Native American activist. So she has a little bit of everything in her. So she is a strong person, man. She just got a really good spirit about her. So again, shout out to Ronda Rousey, man. My next shout out to Edie Lawson Jackson and her daughter Samira Jackson, who made history as the first mother and daughter duo certified to represent NFL players. They were the first mother-daughter duo to be certified as sports agents by the NFLPA. That's crazy. I don't know, man. I don't even know if you know my first master's was in sports management.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so I actually did that so I could, because you either have to have a degree or sports management background in order to get certified, take the test, get certified as an NFLPA representative. Because I was going to represent my boys myself if they happen to go to the NFL. So
Mhm.
that's my first master's degree. Yep.
Hmm.
All right. So shout out to both of them, man. I've been trying to get my little shouts out, man, so we can represent people well. So we got a lot of content to kind of cover this morning because we're still on the relationship wave. And this morning, we kind of talked about this a little bit yesterday and kind of how the show was going to go today. Relationships gone wrong. Relationships can really go wrong, and they can go wrong really quick. And if you're not communicating, or you don't understand how to effectively communicate, sometimes relationships going awry or going wrong is not due to people just doing something just bad, really, but it's the lack of communication.
Mhm.
And when there's a lack of communication, I think that's where people begin to falter. So, and I think with both of these two stories that we're talking about today, as it relates to relationship gone wrong, I think both of them really started with just bad communication or no communication or ineffective communication. So,
Mhm.
let's deal with this first one first because there's a video that Nevaeh posted about some twin sisters. I haven't seen the video. We
Yeah,
talked briefly
I
about it.
made the video. I made the video last night, so we won't have to try to read the whole thing ourselves.
Well, I downloaded it. I went to this page and downloaded it. And so let's get on into it, and then
It's
we'll
almost 10 minutes.
this
It's
first one,
over
and
10
in the
minutes
second
long.
half of the show we'll talk about the other relationship gone wrong.
Off my twin sister at 29 after catching her kiss my fiance. 10 years of hate later, she died in a car crash. I didn't even want to go to her funeral. Mom begged me to do it. After the ceremony, I went to her old room. In her things, I found a paper folder with my name. I opened it and my heart stopped. Inside were handwritten letters, dozens of them, all addressed to me. Each was dated, spanning across years. The first was written just a week after I walked out of her life. I sat down on the edge of her childhood bed, the same bed we used to share when we were 5 and afraid of thunder. My hands trembled as I opened the first letter. Dear Leah, it started, I know you hate me. I don't blame you. I would hate me too. I had to stop reading. My throat clenched up and tears threatened to fall, but I pushed through. I read on. I didn't kiss Thomas. He kissed me, and when I pulled away, you walked in. I know it looked bad, but you never let me explain. That sentence alone cracked something open in me. I told myself I didn't care, that I had moved on, but clearly I hadn't. My heart still ached from the betrayal I believed in for a decade. I flipped to the next letter. This one was more frantic, messy handwriting, likely written during one of her anxiety spirals. You blocked my number. I emailed you. I wrote on your birthday card. You never opened anything. Leah, please, I love you. I messed up somewhere, but not like that. The next few were quiet. Less begging, more updates about her life. How she'd finally gotten promoted at her job. How Mom's health was scaring her. How she missed me every day. One letter hit harder than the rest. Dated on my 35th birthday. I saw you today. You didn't see me. You were at the market buying flowers, yellow ones. You still love sunflowers, huh? I almost walked up and said hi, but your face was so peaceful, I didn't want to disturb that. I closed the letter and stared at the wall. Why hadn't she told me in person? Why did she never fight harder to see me, to clear the air? But deep down, I knew the answer. I made it impossible. I changed my number, moved to a new city, cut off everyone who dared mention her name. I built a wall so high she couldn't climb it. There was one last letter in the folder, tucked away in the back. It didn't have a date. To be opened if I die, it said on the outside. My fingers hesitated. Then I opened it. Leah, if you're reading this, I'm probably gone. I hope you came to my funeral. I hope Mom got through to you. I hope you can forgive me one day. If not for me, then for yourself. Hate is heavy, sis. You've carried it too long. I dropped the letter. My hands shook. I wasn't crying. I was sobbing now. Ugly, messy, loud sobs that shook my whole body. She didn't betray me, not like I thought. That night, I stayed at Mom's house. Couldn't sleep, could barely breathe. Around 3 a.m., I got out of bed and went back to her room. I needed to know more, needed to see beyond the letters. I found an old phone of hers in a drawer. Miraculously, it still worked. I charged it and went through her photos. There were dozens of pictures of me, old childhood ones, ones from high school, even a few she must have secretly taken of me from afar. I had become a ghost in her phone, present but out of reach. Then I found the folder titled Unsent. Inside were recordings, voice memos. The first one was short. Hi, it's me. I miss you. I had a dream about us last night. We were 15 again, laughing about nothing. I woke up crying. Another one, longer this time. I thought of messaging you today, but I didn't. I'm scared. I keep thinking maybe you really do hate me forever. But I wanted you to know, Thomas reached out to me 2 years ago. He apologized, said he kissed me on purpose, that he wanted to break us apart because he thought we were too close. He was jealous. Can you believe that? He got what he wanted. My mouth went dry. Thomas, that snake. I hadn't heard from him since the week I left. He never even denied it, just told me it happened and walked away. I never looked back. I felt sick. 10 years wasted. 10 years hating the wrong person.
My God. I'm just going to pause this right here so we can kind of talk about this, because
It's a lot.
is this a true story?
But there's some debate going on whether it's actually a true story or not. But I think the topic itself resonates across a lot of relationships. Maybe not exactly the same circumstances, but definitely the same outcomes, where there have been many people who have fallen out or disconnected with other people, and then one of the two parties transition, and then they later find out that what they thought they were so upset about really wasn't true. So
Man, that story is freaking heartbreaking, man. Just listening to it. If it is true, I don't know, but if it is true, I don't know, like, if that was me and this had happened to me and my twin. And y'all know a lot of twins, they have unbelievable bonds.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes one feel when the other one's hurting and all that kind of stuff. And I can only imagine that you walking in the room and seeing something like that. You ain't trying to hear what the other person has got to say. Not in that moment.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
But to not try to reach out within 10 years because you saw her in the market and she just looked peaceful, and I didn't want to mess that up. That girl lived in, if this is true, was living in hell for 10 years, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely positively like crazy. Like what we would go through to reserve or keep somebody else's peace and put our own self through hell.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good
I guess
morning,
the
Miss
only,
Loretta. Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Zoe.
I guess the only other line thought process in that just listening to it currently again for the 15th time because I did this last night. But so that means that for 10 years, as far as your mother is concerned, I know y'all went to y'all mother's house. Y'all didn't see each other. Are you just y'all? She stayed
No,
out of town
because at one
again,
point she said she moved away to
Yeah.
to
right?
just get it. Yeah,
They're separate from our
yeah. And so
But still, though, you have to communicate. Evidently, the mother was communicating with, of course, both of her daughters.
yeah,
I guess
right,
she was kind of keeping her up to date as to what was going on with her sister.
probably. Yeah.
Right.
And how do you think that feels for a mama?
Right.
Not only was that girl living in hell, but the parent, you didn't seen your twin daughters no longer talking to each other. One hate the other one, supposedly. And I'm gonna even say that I don't believe she hated her, but I believe that the hurt cut so deep, that hurt we was talking about yesterday,
Yeah.
that hurt cut her so deep to the point she was like, I just can't, this is my twin. I can't believe she would, and she just refused to communicate with her any kind of way.
One for me, I'm like you, Lavelle. I listened to this several times and read it several times, and so I get different perspectives or try to see perspectives. And one of the things was it makes me question what was the twins' relationship before that incident. Was it already strained, or had there already been some
Yeah.
betrayal, or
How old were they and all that? Yeah.
that could have been the last straw, quote unquote, that pushed it over the edge for her? Because that one incident is really extreme to just disconnect from someone.
No. When you talking about dating, and you talking about it's women out there that love hard. We talked about that, love hard, and apparently whoever this dude was, this girl loved this dude, and to see her twin, somebody who she felt like we shared the womb together, all of this, and to see her kissing her man, I don't think it took more than that. I don't think it had to take multiple instances for her to say, "Oh, I'm fed up." No, I think that was a girl that just loved, and you can hear, like, just in the story itself, how she's hurt from hearing all this stuff that her sister was saying, that she knew she really effed that up because of a dude.
But where does, after the initial shock and some of the, you would kind of said, in some of the hurt, at what point do you really think about who your sister is and how well you know her? Even though anybody can surprise us, but at some point in that 10 years, who your sister is and what she presented herself to be through all those years to you possibly should have come into play somewhere to kind of at least get her to be
I
open
I,
to
I
conversation.
agree, because I would be that way.
Mhm.
But we talked about this again yesterday too. Some people hurt, and you can't tell them how long to hurt.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
I can't tell you that you should only be hurt for 2 weeks or a month. Okay, it's been long enough now. You all want to talk to me. I can't tell you that Miss Gwen went out and hurt you.
And again, back to us putting our judgment on how we think a
Mm-hmm.
situation should be handled, or this is
Yep.
the way I would handle it. So I think
Right.
she's the same. But yeah, definitely that. On the surface, it just sounds like this is something that could be trivial or that's not that deep. But like you said, individuals interpret stuff differently. And
Mm-hmm.
cut could, for her, could have been a cut that was beyond repair. So,
Right. Good morning, Cheryl. That's the way I'm reading the whole thing. Like, this is my first time hearing it, and just first perception is she was in love with this dude. She saw this dude and her sister, whom she loved just as much as this dude, kissing. The ultimate betrayal. This is the ultimate betrayal. And it hurt me so bad. I don't want to see it talk to him. I don't want to see it talk to her. They can miss me. I don't want to talk to neither one of them ever again in life. They can have it. They can be happy with each other. How many times have we said that?
Yep.
They can go be happy with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But because she shut out everybody, she didn't want to hear what mama had to say about that's your sister. I don't want to hear it, mama. I don't want to hear it. If you're going to keep talking about it, mama, I ain't coming around you.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard family members say that to their parents. If you're going to keep talking about it, I'm just going to come over here.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And now what mama do and daddy do, they shut up talking about it.
Right. The burden of the mother to be the bridge and all of that. Like you said, that's a weight. So it doesn't just affect the twins themselves. It impacts the entire family.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Phyllis asked a really good question.
Yeah, in the comments, somebody wrote, forgiveness is key. Otherwise, it just eats you up on the inside. And so think about 10 years of forgiveness operating on the inside of you and what that's doing to her as a person, even though she's still here, what that 10 years forgiveness has brought in her life and the things she's been denied because of it.
I swear, man, you be on the same way, Lisa, because my thought process was, even though the one that died in the car accident, she died, but the other girl was just as dead on the inside.
Exactly.
She was just as dead.
And them letters, her finding them letters did not help at all.
Did not help. She's gonna carry the burden of reading those letters. She would have been better off not reading those letters.
Mm-hmm.
But now reading those letters and to know that I let 10 years pass without reconciliation or forgiveness with my sister, that may kill her quicker than anything else will.
Right.
Yeah, I put the story in ChatGPT and asked it to give me a name for it, and it says the letters I was never meant to read.
Oh, wow.
Should have never read them. Phyllis says, from a woman to woman situation, it seems like they always blame the other woman. What type of man was he? Did she miss the signals?
So they get that's on and down into the story. We got to complete the story.
Yeah.
So
and without hearing that part of it, I can say, sometimes love blinds us.
Exactly.
It blinds us to the point we don't see that person's flaw because we're so infatuated with them. We don't see the signals. And clearly, I mean, here's this dude. He probably saying they twins. Oh, she already said he was jealous of our relationship. He wanted us to break up. He wanted us to not be good. He did it purposely.
Yep.
So he had to be saying something to her during this whole period for him to feel that kind of way. You don't be jealous of somebody. You don't do something, say something or something. So she was so blinded by love that she didn't see none of that. Let's jump back into it. Let's see.
That weekend, I went home to my own place. I brought the letters with me, couldn't leave them behind. I tried to tell myself to move on, but I couldn't. I needed closure. So I did something I hadn't done in years. I looked up Thomas, found him easily. His face hadn't changed much, still smug. He lived just 2 hours away. I sent him a message, simple. I know the truth. Can we talk? He replied within an hour. Sure. We met at a quiet cafe halfway between us. When I walked in, he stood, tried to smile. Leah, wow, it's been... Sit, I said. He sat. I didn't waste time. Did you kiss her? Not the it happened version, the truth. He looked guilty. Yes, I kissed her. I knew you were coming back in a minute. I wanted you to see. Why? He looked down. Because I knew I was losing you. And I thought if I broke you two up, you'd cling to me. You ruined my relationship with my sister. I ruined everything, he said quietly. I stood. You did, but I let you. He nodded. I'm sorry. I don't forgive you, I said, but I forgive myself for believing you. And I walked out. Back in my car, I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding for 10 years. The next few weeks were hard. Grief and guilt hit me in waves. I kept hearing her voice in those letters. I kept wishing I'd opened them sooner. Then I remembered something. Her letters mentioned a man she'd been seeing. Someone serious. His name was Matthew. I found him on Facebook, sent him a message. Hi, I'm Leah. I'm Elena's twin. He replied that same night. I've been hoping to hear from you. She talked about you all the time. We decided to meet. I wasn't sure why. Maybe I wanted to see the side of her I never got to witness. Matthew was kind, gentle eyes. He spoke about her like she was magic. She was the most forgiving person I've ever known, he said, even when she was hurting. She hurt a lot, I whispered. She did, he nodded, but she never gave up on people. We sat in silence a while. Then he handed me a small envelope. She asked me to give you this, if anything ever happened. Another letter. This one was short. Leah, I know you'll never read this unless I'm gone. But if you do, I want you to know I forgive you for everything. And I love you still, always. I cried again, but this time it wasn't just guilt, it was release. In the months that followed, I slowly began to piece myself back together. I started journaling. I saw a therapist. I reconnected with old friends I'd pushed away when I isolated myself. I even moved back to my hometown, bought a little house not far from Mom. Mom and I talked more than ever. I realized how much she'd hidden her own pain, trying to protect both of us. One day,
That's enough. That story is heartbreaking, bro. I'm over here almost in tears.
Hey,
Yeah.
Because the pain this woman feels now, bro, even though, I can see she was starting to heal. She was talking about her journaling and all that. I can see she was moving towards healing. But that pain, bro, she had to feel reading them letters, man. And that pain that mama shared, bro, is crazy.
But did you hear in the part, again, listening back, where she said, I hadn't looked him up in years. So that says that she never really let go of the feelings she had for him.
Mm.
That, even though dead and all of that, she still has something for that guy. If after years you're still looking him up, even though you didn't communicate with him, there's still some emotion there attached to that man.
I'm not. I think that was more so for closure and to find out if he truly did what he did that the
Right.
sister did in the letter.
I think that part,
Yes.
but the part
Yeah.
that I'm talking about is what she said she hadn't looked him up in years.
Yeah,
from
that's
time
because the way she was fit, she felt that
Yeah.
hurt, that betrayal. So I don't think there was any feelings there at all. But I think
No.
she really wanted that closure to see him face to face and see his face for him to say, "Yeah, I did that."
What about the part where she says, I don't forgive you, but I forgive myself?
That's powerful.
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 I think
That was a whole segue for me.
Yeah, but I think even in time, because it, like I said, when she started mentioning, "Oh, I'm doing my journaling, I see her moving towards healing, and so I think even over a period of time, even her statement to him is, "I don't forgive you, but I forgive myself." She would eventually forgive him too,
Yeah.
but it's part of it. It's part of the healing process. She just wasn't there yet, and that was bro. That's heartbreaking, man. To know that you through 10 years of just really being with your. But this is the story of a lot of people, Miss Gwen.
It is.
Lavelle, this is the story of a lot of family, people, friends, family.
Oh,
Yeah.
in the comments of this particular story, other the lady shared, I was reading the comments last night. One lady said, "Man, she said when she started reading the story, she said she just stopped. She said she cried and let some stuff out she didn't even know was in there. She said she hadn't talked to some of her family members in 17 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she said, I'm gonna do something today just off this letter, whether it's true or not. She said,
Mhm.
I'm finna reconnect with my family.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I was like, wow. And it's just I didn't even read all of the comments.
Yeah, I could get to all of them. Yeah, definitely there were a lot that of course it turned on the emotional tears, but a lot of people resonated with it because even if it didn't happen to them themselves, most of us can probably think of someone in our immediate circles or our family who has fell out with someone, and
Mm-hmm.
this day still may not have any contact with them. I know I personally have that. I have someone.
It happened to me. I got a situation. I ain't talked to that person in 2 years, and
Mhm.
it is what it is. I tried to rectify the situation, best I could, but I can't change how he feel. It
Right.
is what it is.
Right.
Does reading stories like this igniting you want to try to reach out again, or did that
Mm,
have impact
no,
on how you feel about that situation?
no, I've already done it. I've done it several times. So I can't change how that particular person feels. I've done what I could do.
That's
The
the whole thing I was talking about.
Yeah,
You
the scripture talks
when
about
you was talking
once
about
you do
Miss,
what you're supposed to do, you shake the dust. And
yeah,
because
Yeah.
initially, honestly, if it wasn't for my wife, I wasn't gonna apologize because I kind of stood my ground in a sense because it kind of gives another trajectory to the story because I knew I wasn't wrong.
mm-hmm.
The way it came off may have been harsh, but at the same time, you got to understand what people's going through at a particular time and they climbing in their life. So a lot of people try to over usurp their authority into a situation like they control the situation.
Mhm.
And I had already told this individual that, hey, dude, I got some stuff going on, and you know what I'm saying, respect where I am right now. And he didn't respect it, and due to him not respecting it, that's how we end up being where we are. But he didn't do his work. I did my
You
work.
lashed out at him.
Mm-hmm.
Phyllis says, do you think the mama going to harbor any feelings? She saw how her other child suffered. I think the
No, she ain't
mother
gonna
had
hop
the
no
mother,
food.
I don't think she will harbor any ill feelings, but I
Mhm.
think that the hurt that the mother felt during this entire process was just as bad or worse than what them sisters was enduring.
Mm-hmm.
As a mother, as a father, we talk about mothers a lot, but let's talk about fathers. As a father, if my kids are not getting along, and I can flat out tell you how my wife is, but if my kids are not getting along as a father, first of all, I'm gonna have a conversation. This family meeting time. It's time to pull somebody together. But it's a hurting feeling. I can only imagine how this mother felt, bro.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because maybe in the beginning she felt like, oh, it's just a dude. She'll be over it. They'll be back talking. But after a year passed, 2 years, 3 years, mama like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Yeah. And
We
the
can't
fact
have.
the fact of
Go
the matter
ahead.
is, other thing that I respected was that she didn't go to the funeral. The reason why I say that because we had a situation where me and Tony, this gentleman, he's actually deceased now. So it's crazy how these stories kind of hit home. But the gentleman, I tried to rectify the situation. I called him. We talked on the phone at length, and he can definitely let me know how he felt about the situation. But understanding some of the backdrop, looking at his story now, never mind, that's somewhere else. But anyway, so he told me how he felt. He said, hey, man, I don't give a F about what y'all got going on. Matter of fact, just leave me alone. I said, okay, good. That's all I need to know. I cut off all ties. No social media. I blocked his phone number, the whole 9 yards. Not knowing that a year and a half, 2 years down the line, that the man was gonna die. I'll be
Mm,
unalived, however you want to say it, deceased. And so everybody was calling. Nobody that know me that knows him, uh, know that even went on. So folk were calling me, man, you hear about what's his name? I don't want to say no names. He was like, you going to the funeral? I'm like, nah, bro. I said, that ain't right. I said, because our situation wasn't rectified. Even though
mm,
nobody really truly knew that, just within my heart of hearts, to me, it's like it's a respect issue.
And that look
mm.
Lavelle, that leads to The part about when people do transition and things are not in a good place, how much grief and guilt people carry with them after that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a weight. Sometimes people don't bounce back as quickly, even though like you said, that person was in the right. That guilt of not being able to repair that relationship can also be something that really weighs on the person that's still there. So
And the whole crazy part about at least this story for sure is that only if they had just said, you know what, we're gonna set aside our difference. Let me just hear you out.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
Let me just hear you out. You got 10 minutes. Let me hear you out. That communication or the lack of it or ineffective communication or the other person just not wanting to communicate, period, destroyed the relationship.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
And never the relationship was never, renewed or never, that's if this is a true story, that's sad as heck,
Yeah.
to see that and to see what all parties went through. But again, like I said, I know a whole lot of families that's
Mhm.
going through this right now.
Exactly.
And people, you gotta love on people while you can, man. That's the reason I try not to, like, even if I don't agree with you, I still try not to, like, totally separate when it comes. I'm talking about family now. When
Mhm.
it comes to family, I might not agree with you, agree with nothing, it might have got pissed off at you, but I'm not gonna let that separate me from coming around a family event, showing up, none of that, and speaking to you, or speaking to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because life is too short, and I don't want to be the person hovering over somebody's casket. Ah, we didn't get it right. I don't want to be that person,
Yep.
and
I
that's
asked uh, I
a
asked
lot. When you,
ChatGPT to give me some takeaways from this story. Uh, it's 7 takeaways from the story. It says number 1, let go of hate. Holding anger only hurts you, not the
Mhm.
person you resent.
Yes.
It says 2, seek the truth. Things are not always what they seem.
Mhm.
3, love endures. Real love remains even after years of silence. 4, forgive to heal. Forgiveness sets you free. 5, speak before it's too late. You just said that, Tony.
Yeah.
Unspoken words become lifelong regrets.
hmm
Face the past. True healing starts with honesty. Number 7, share your story. Your pain can help someone else find peace.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
And
talked.
when these people pass, that you can tell who was speaking almost, man. Some of these funerals when people pass, man, they
Right.
be about to jump in the casket.
hmm
They
Yep.
know they have wrong people or haven't made it right. Mel said,
Mhm.
I recall a guy that came on this podcast and had a disagreement, and he's no longer here. I didn't know him personally and didn't know what happened, but I seen it on FB.
That's who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm.
One of the points I want to point it out that and I'll kind of close it out on this part. When the boyfriend Matthew, when she was talking to him, and he told her that she heard a lot talking about the sister that had passed. That she heard a lot, but she never gave up on. And that says a lot, even though she definitely heard by the distance from her sister cutting her out of her life. It didn't change who she was as far as loving on people, and that she really and that sacrificed her own feelings just to give her sister that space to have the peace and to handle it the way she wanted to handle it. So I think that said a lot about her character and who she was, even though they were twins and they reacted two totally different ways. That the sister that left, her love still prevailed, even though they were separated.
Yeah,
The Cain and Abel story.
yeah.
That,
All right, let's jump on in this stick to this next one, man. The Perfect Neighbor. Again, if you guys haven't seen it,
I didn't get to see it.
heartbreaking, heartbreaking. And it's another one of those situations that I think that communication or ineffective communication throughout the whole thing was just, you know, whether the people, Miss Lorenz or whatever her name, didn't want to communicate properly. I just think she had an issue with black people, period. And when she moved in that neighborhood, or the people started moving in that neighborhood, she really had an issue with it. And instead of her talking through or talking about their differences and what they could do, she just made a big deal out of it to the point where it ultimately cost somebody their life, well, several people their lives, uh, directly and indirectly. But this movie was directed by Geeta Gandhihar, and a breakdown of the case and themes and impact. So I didn't do a video, I did a PowerPoint presentation. So overview: The Perfect Neighbor. It was just released in 2024. It's a true crime and social justice documentary directed by Geeta. It explores the 2023 shooting of I think they pronounce her name AJ. They called her AJ Owens, by her neighbor Susan Lawrence in Osceola, Florida, using real body cam. See, I've never seen this before, and how this type of stuff play out. But when I tell you, I thank God for the body cam footage. Like, I'm glad police officers are wearing body cam footage now, because the body cam footage and CCT footage really help, kind of, along with the lady just kind of being inconsistent in her testimony, but that really kind of helped this whole entire case. If those, and the fact that the lady called the police so many times, that and every time they came out, they had their body cams on video and the footage, and it made the lady just really look like a real bad racist, basically. So the film constructs the tragedy and examines racial tension, fear, and the stand your ground law. And if y'all don't, if you don't know about the stand your ground law, they'll pull that up, the stand your ground law, and where it's coming at. But the stand your ground law has gotten a lot of people unalived. A lot of people, and mostly us. So this is the incident. This is what happened. Months of tension built between Lorenz and neighborhood children. Not a child, the whole entire neighborhood of children. One person got a problem with the whole neighborhood children. And guess what, y'all? Them neighborhood children were either black or mixed. Most of them. And I think maybe a couple of Hispanics. But she had a problem with the neighborhood children, including AJ's children. And so on June the 2nd, 2023, Miss Lorenz shot Owens through a locked door. She shot through the door. Not open the door and get away from my door, pal. Shot through the door. The door was locked, still deadbolted. Lorenz claimed self-defense. Footage captures the confusion and grief at the scene. Them body cam footage, man, it was man, I'm telling you, it was heartbreaking. The film uses real police body cam footage to show the human cost of fear and misjudgment. The legal proceedings. Florida's stand your ground law initially prevented an immediate arrest. Have you pulled it up, LaBelle?
Yes, it says a stand your ground law allows a person who feels threatened with serious harm to use deadly force in self-defense without first attempting to retreat. This legal principle is in contrast to the duty to retreat laws that exist in some states, which require a person to safely escape a threatening situation before using deadly force.
Okay. So just based on that now,
Mm-hmm.
She should be able to escape her situation before using deadly force.
Mm-hmm.
She's behind a locked, deadbolted door.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I found this so ironic, and I kind of I laughed for a second because I felt like he automatically knew like this lady was probably gonna try to use this defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
The detective was like, so if we went to your house and looked on through your phone, your search browser history, or your computer or your phone, will we see you researching anything about the stand your ground law?
Mm. Interesting.
Right.
And I don't think she ever answered yes or no to it.
Hmm.
So, which probably was a little guilt there, like she let me look and see what I could do. Yeah, let me go and research this.
Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of people do.
Right.
So let me just go home and throw this out here for all you people who live in those areas who think that they supposed to, you know, all this stuff that you be looking up on your computer, your browser history, where you think you deleted it,
It's
it
still
can
there.
be recovered.
It's still
Oh yeah,
there.
it ain't going nowhere.
So if you're thinking about committing a crime and you're thinking about researching how you gonna do it and all that, best to believe they gonna look for your computers, phones, and go through all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. They got people who just that's their job. That's forensic science, doc.
They call forensic. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And then Tony, the irony to this is that there's a case similar to this that's going on right now here in Memphis with the two men that had some kind of altercation, I think in South Memphis, maybe a few weeks ago. And the guy
Yeah, I saw that.
got out of his car and went over to the guy, hit him through the window, and the guy shot and killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that he's going to use the stand your ground defense.
And he don't really have, I mean, that's more if you so when you go and take your carry permit class, when you go take that class and you learn all the you can discharge your weapon when you are trying to protect your own life or protect the life of somebody else. And so if a person come over, if I'm sitting in my vehicle and a person comes over me and has a stick, knife, gun, anything, and hidden, threatened, I fear for my life. What you want me to do? Let them bust the window, knock my head out, bust my. What you want them to do?
Well, I don't know if this is new or not. This is my first time ever hearing it because I knew the gentleman that unalived the gentleman, but the situation is kind of threw me off. They said that your vehicle is an extension of your home.
Mm.
So in other words, he wasn't able to even, and from what I understand, the dude didn't have anything when he walked to his car, but the
Right.
dude had he really was supposed to be around him at all because they tried to run him off the road on the expressway.
And one follow
prior
is
to that.
Lavelle,
Right.
the one that's still alive, followed him, and he's the one that had the protection against him.
Now, see, what's his name? He live in that area. He was on his way home. They just so happened to run up on each other. He
Okay.
kept messing with him. All the social media stuff that went on, dude was constantly messing with that man. I'm talking about every day, all day, every day. He was trolling, doing something. I'm gonna do this to you. I'm gonna do this to you. Just like Tony said, I'm sure that's the first thing they did was went to social media.
Yeah,
that's gonna be his only stand. So
yeah, you gotta watch those situations, man, and you can't just anyway. We'll talk about that. So let's get back to this. So the delay caused outrage. When I tell you the people were furious that the sheriff did not arrest his lady, because they literally took her in, and because of the stand your ground law, they basically took this lady in and then said, you know what, we heard her testimony, we heard what she had to say. We're gonna release you. You might not be safe for you to stay at your house. They told it might not be safe for you to stay at your house because the whole entire neighborhood was against this lady. Now they drove her back so she can get some things at her house, and then they came back like a day or two. She came back a day or two with her family members getting some stuff. And when I tell you the neighbors were livid, they had to kind of vandalize the lady house a little bit. They was cussing her out, talking stuff. Like, if the police hadn't been there, I ain't no telling what would happen to that lady. To be honest with you. Monica said,
I'm if I miss my train of thought. What's so crazy about something like this is that understanding how racism is taught and how strong it is, that this is something that her parents embedded into her.
mm-hmm.
Like
It's like brainwash.
right, something that's strong, something that a strong spirit like that able to continue. So 9 times out of 10, whoever her parents was, their parents, embedded it into those individuals, and then they embedded it into her. And this stuff is just like, you got to make your own decision. I mean, when I hear about stuff like this, I'd be like, wow.
And I don't even know if that was necessarily the case, Lavelle. I really don't, because just the woman herself, the woman had issues, bro. She had issues.
And that could be a lot of mental issues have a lot of delusion, a lot of things that just triggers them into and that fear is real in them, even though it may not be a reality. That fear is a reality to them.
But that lady didn't have fear. That lady didn't, I mean, she tried to use the fear. I was fearful. That lady didn't have fear. That lady had a lot of hatred in her heart, because the stuff that she was doing was just
That's what I'm talking about right there.
It was just hateful stuff. I think they said she looked the law up on Google before shooting her. I don't know. I know they asked the question. And Loretta was talking about the young man y'all was talking about. She said that was her son's childhood friend. And then Mel was saying they were going back and forth. But anyway, so the delay in her arrest caused the outrage. But what they were trying to do was figure out if the stand your ground law would be applicable in this situation. But because they wanted to check with legal, check with everybody to look at the legal precedence of the law and all that stuff. But when you start thinking about, when Lavelle read what he said, this lady shot through a dead-bolted locked door. What? That lady wasn't getting through her door. This is the crazy part. The detectives asked her, said, look, so from the time that, because she had called 911 prior to say, hey, these kids was bothering me, getting on my nerve, right? From the time she called 911 and they said, we're dispatching some officers out, they asked her, so from the time you made that first call and then Miss AJ came over there beating on your door, knocking on your door, how much time you think passed by? I don't know, probably, 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes or something, And they said, well, why didn't you just, when she started beating, call the police back and say, hey, she's over here beating on my door? She said, oh, I couldn't find my phone. I was looking for my phone. I couldn't find my phone. And at the time, I was just fearful, because if she was hitting the door so hard, the stuff was, rattling on my walls, like it was going to come, like she was going to knock the door off the hinge. And I was fearful. And then he said, and so when you shot through the door, what was you aiming for?
Wow.
He said, how did you know? If you didn't look out there, you just heard her saying she gonna kill you, she gonna do this. How did you know she not had one of her children with her and you shooting through the door? Because you already said she had came over there once with her son saying, hey, this is my child. Don't, if you have an issue with him, if he does something to you, just let me know. I'll deal with him. So how you know she didn't have a child with you then, knocking on the door, coming over there saying, hey, let's talk about, you just threw these skates at my son and you got his tablet.
And how much danger are you really in behind that locked, closed door?
Hello? So when they finally picked her back up the second time, they asked her the same stuff again. Her story's just changed. I said, that ain't what she said the first. And he brought it all back. He said, well, you said this the first time. Well, yeah, it just felt like it's about 5-10 minutes and it was just a long time. He said, you do know we have time stamps from 911 calls, right? He said, from the time you first called 911 and they said they were dispatching officers. To the time you shot through that door and made the second call saying that you shot her was 2 minutes.
Wow.
When it felt like 10 minutes to me, it felt like a long time. They said, so from the time that you said that these kids are out here being disruptive or whatever, and you called 911 and they said they was dispatching, that lady had to walk across the street to your place, beat on your door, beat on your window, beat on your door some more, holler out she was gonna kill you several times. She did all that in 2 minutes.
So that's call was her alibi.
She thought.
Yeah. She thought. Yeah.
But the courtroom scene highlights the contrast between self-defense claims and bias. She was eventually charged and sentenced to 25 years for manslaughter. The woman, when she called 911 the second time, y'all, the lady sounded hysterical, right? She sounded, she was just doing all that stuff, right? And I shot through the door out of she was gonna kill me, crying, all that. They pull up at the house. They tell her to come out. She come out calm. She ain't crying. She ain't. I said, then when they tell her that the lady died, she was, oh God, and then it's just all of a sudden it went back to her calm face again. I like she didn't even know how to play the role good. That lady didn't care 2 iotas that she had unalived that lady.
Nope.
When they told her, yeah, the son said he was going to get his mama, and she told him, go get your mama. So she knew the lady was coming over there.
Wow.
He wanted to kill her. I'm sorry, unalive her.
But the entitlement of feeling like you can dictate what occurs in the neighborhood or who can be in the neighborhood plays into all that.
This is the other crazy part. The neighborhood where they were, there were a lot of like duplex type houses, like 2 houses, like a duplex, then some grassy area, duplex, and and it was like some of the people owned their properties and some of the people were renting, probably most of them were probably renting. And so there were other white neighbors in the area. They all talked about her and she was crazy. Even the white neighbors.
Yeah.
They all the kids wanted to do was play football in the yard, and she just had a problem with them playing in the yard. And it wasn't even her yard. It was just next to hers. And they were saying, she was saying, oh, they were too loud. Oh, they leave their toys around. Oh, she even went so far one time, as y'all, just setting off her alarm every few minutes. Just make like they out there hitting her car to set off her alarm. She's setting it off. Just foolishness. She was calm, Mayor, right? She was calm, cool, and collected. I love, again, how they put this document together, because they use real footage instead of like, how they reenact on some of these other shows where they reenact the kind of what happened. They use real life footage. And I think that's what made this one so touching for me and heart-wrenching, and just, me and Marcus and the watch, we just bawled and crying because we just felt like it was just all these kids wanted to do is play. Just be kids and play. That's all they wanted to do. And this lady like had a problem with how these kids out here playing. But it combined both both the body cams of the police, CCTV, and 911 calls for realism. Not only that, that body cam footage showed them trying to bring this lady back. Showing where she had got. Well, they didn't actually show where she had got shot because they kind of blurred that part out, but they showed the lady laying lifeless on the ground, her kids standing over her, crying. They tell one the little boy who actually saw it, because she did that. She shot this woman in unalived this woman in front of her son.
Oh, wow.
In front of her son. When she shot through the door, because he was standing close, when she was knocking on the door, he was standing kind of like, because it was like a little patio area, like you walk through like a little kind of like a little gate that wasn't gated, but with the big tall gate patio area. So he was kind of standing outside, but he could see. And when she shot the mother, I guess the mother bagged back up and collapsed in the grass, bagged back, and he ran, hollered, call 911, call 911. She shot my mama. And it was, and for that daddy, the daddy that other children, I guess, they weren't together, but they called him and he showed up on the scene to come get the kids, because the kids really didn't have no one to be there with them. And the officer, when that officer said, "Hey, let me talk to you over here," I knew it. The officer, "Hey, let me talk to you over here." And he pulled the dad to the side and he said she didn't make it. And the daddy broke down because he knew the hurt that he was gonna have to share this with his children. And I think he did a really good job of just kind of saying, "Hey, I love y'all, right? I love y'all. Mama love y'all." He said, "But mama not coming back. She's not coming back." And to hear them, the screams of them children, y'all, was you got to watch it for you to really appreciate it. It was, when I tell you it was minimum narration, the emotion conveyed through silence and raw footage was real. And it captured both community warmth and division before the tragedy struck.
And then in addition to just the grief of losing their mom, but also the possible feelings of guilt, and if they had not complained about the lady, their mom may still be there.
That's exactly what the young man said. He said, "If I had never went and told my mama, if I had never, my mama will still be here." And Al Sharpton told him at the service, he said, "You can't carry that. Don't carry that. That wasn't your fault." But that little boy said he did. He said, "It's my fault.
Wow.
I should have never went and told my mama." But Fear and Prejudice explores how bias distorts perception of danger. Race and the Law examines who stand your ground law truly protects. Y'all hear me now? If you ain't hear me, Community and Grief shows unity and resilience after tragedy. And then The Justice versus the Justification questions if fear is used to excuse prejudice, extreme prejudice. And here's the impact and reception. Praise for emotional honesty and innovative format. That's what the movie, the documentary, because it was, like I said, it was the emotional honesty of it and in the innovative format for how they did that. I've never seen a documentary like that. Never. It sparks the discussion on race, law, and justice in America. It encourages reform of the stand your ground laws and highlights how ordinary disputes can reveal deep societal divisions. Lavelle, can you look up really quick how many people have been unalived due to the stand your ground law?
Okay.
And see how many of them those were Black people or people of color.
While he's doing that, art often imitates life. Country Wayne skits that's on Facebook and all other platforms. One of the storylines in there is exactly the same thing. There's a white actress in there, and her bias and prejudice against people of color. It's the same thing. It haven't gotten to the point that someone has transpired because of it, but the conflicts that come up because
Mhm.
same thing about children in the neighborhood. Some children walk through their neighborhood to get to their own home after school. She even went so far as to call the police because they were walking besides one of the other people's houses. It wasn't her house, wasn't her yard. She just took it upon herself to call the police on them because of that. So just that again, that sense of feeling like they get to dictate how other people live, in their world is really
It's
crazy.
crazy. It's crazy. Even
Next,
even in this particular documentary, the lady had to call the police so much and mess with the kids so much. The kids started calling her Karen. That's how they referred to her. All the
same,
kids referred to her. Even when the police come up, they was like Karen. They was like, "Who is Karen?"
yeah, same
They
thing.
had started referring to the lady as Karen.
And in that storyline, she's actually married to an African American. So there's that whole dynamic of how can you be so loving, or quote unquote, about your husband, but you hate other black people.
Yeah, other black.
Yeah. But again,
That,
like
that's just like the white person that says, I don't hate black people. I have black friends.
I got a black friend. I go to church with black people. Yeah.
I have black friends.
But you also
What?
prejudice. Yeah.
Monica said that part almost took me. She said, as parents, we teach our children to tell us and let us handle it, especially with adults. AJ was a true mama bear in protection mode, and I can imagine she was fed up with the lady deliberately attacking her children verbally and then physically throwing skates, etc. Yeah, that was. I think that was the final straw for her, and she was like, "You gonna come out and talk to me, about why you throwing these skates at my children, And that lady, yeah, she didn't have an answer for that one. But in the final reflection, while Lavelle is still looking it up, The Perfect Neighbor is more than a crime story. It's a reflection on fear, bias, and humanity. It reveals how systematic inequality and misunderstanding can turn neighbors into adversaries. By relying solely on real footage, it compels viewers to confront uncomfortable truths about safety, race, and justice. Miss Gwen, she said, Miss Gwen, I thought about that episode of Country Wayne as a discussion has gone on. Yep.
Yeah. And it's an ongoing and then she's turned against her own family in her hatred of things. So she's just consumed by her prejudice and hatred.
That's crazy.
But again, when you think about so many of the Black Lives Matter stories and tragedies that have happened, most times it's rooted in this. There's bias and hate that causes so many people of color to be unalive.
Well, I looked it up the second way first, and when I read this, it's gonna kind of answer your question to the first question you asked. So it's kind of ironic how this reads out. But it says no precise count exists for the number of African Americans killed due to stand your ground laws, but multiple studies demonstrate that the laws have racially biased application. The bias means homicides with a black victim are more likely to be ruled justifiable, while black individuals who act in self-defense are less likely to have the claims accepted. So that kind of answers it both ways.
Wow.
So when I read it, I was like,
we can't use it ourselves.
Right.
We just going to jail. They can use it and use it on us because we'll be the victim.
Yeah.
They the victims rather, and we the perpetrators, and they can use it on us.
And politics behind them to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And they're gonna have that's why a lot of people are calling for the reform of that stand your ground law, because it only protects certain individuals.
Correct.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, this has been a fantastic week. I have truly enjoyed this week, man. We welcome you guys, your thoughts on topics and things that you guys want to share and talk about. We welcome those. So make sure if you want to inbox me, Phyllis does a good job at inboxing me. Monica does a good job at inboxing me topics. Sometimes I come up with topics in the veil. We come up with topics from going through social media and looking, browsing and looking at current trends and stuff. But when we had a topic where we can talk about the whole entire week and still hit different aspects of it every day, is truly amazing. And so we want to continue that. I told Miss Gwen, and I invite whoever else, if you're available, if you want to come on and you want to share a thought or get in on a conversation. When we have certain conversations, I welcome you. We have a QR code. Let me see if I can find it. We have a QR code that we can put up so you guys can jump on. If you want to be a guest, you can scan that QR code that's at the top left of the screen and jump on and be a guest. Even if you have something long, that you don't want to type in the comments and you want to hop on, we welcome you to do so. Come on. Now we won't get on here and you can't tell it all. Jump on, say what you got to say, and you can jump out. And we appreciate that. And we've created this platform so we can be able to do so we can have these dialogues, have these conversations, because again, we're all about helping people become the better versions of themselves, and that's through education, that's through awareness, that's through personal testimony, transparency, vulnerability, all of those things. And so we want to make sure that we are sharing that we can help people become the better version of themselves. Me and Miss Gwen was talking offline yesterday, and we were just talking about even her story, how so many people that were online, that were the ladies that were resonating with her and stuff that she had dealt with and could identify. And I said, so you got to be able to tell your story sometimes. So people, you never know who you're affecting when you tell your story. And I know sometimes you might feel like you're a little embarrassed by maybe sharing or that vulnerable side of you, or sharing something that you've been through or your testimony, but it's to help somebody else, and somebody else may be dealing with what you're dealing with or going through. We've heard Lavelle, share several times about like the mental breakdowns and things of that nature. That wasn't an embarrassing moment for him. That was true transparency and saying, hey, I understand that we going through, and his other brothers and sisters out here going through the same thing. Share your story, tell your story. Yeah. So that's all we have today, man.
There is power dialogue.
Yeah, absolutely. Lavelle, your thoughts, man, and we're gonna get out of here. You can close us out with a prayer.
Yeah, I'm kind of emotional in a little bit because the documentary, and I wonder why I hadn't watched it yet. But it's like just like the movie that came out that was real powerful, that everybody was raving about one time, about the gentleman that helped the gentleman that killed his son. What was that movie? It was like a Christian-based movie. The dude was from Memphis. That was one of the actors. I can't think of the movie. But it would be amazing how some of these stories, it don't necessarily be your story, but it'd be very similar to your story. So I've seen both sides of this situation with the documentary without me even watching it, be it with my grandfather and my mother. So sometimes, you'd be amazed at how stuff can come up and kind of like, unshake you in a sense. So I've been on that side of the scenario, and I understand how that feels. So yeah. It's crazy.
All right. Close us out with a prayer, brother.
Yep. Most gracious eternal God, our Father, Lord God, we thank you for this day. Thank you for this time. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for life. Thank you for just being God and being God all by yourself. Lord God, we thank you for this week, being able to share about relationships and understanding things better and getting wisdom and knowledge out of just sharing with each other and dialoguing. Lord God, we thank you for Miss Gwen being on with us and sharing with us. Lord God, we thank you for all that you have inputted into us to be better in our relationships and growing with our relationships. Lord God, we ask you to continue to this Tony family, my family, Miss Gwen family, Miss Queen family, and everybody that's represented, Lord God. We ask you to look down on us through this rest of this weekend, and we ask you to do your dollar son Jesus' name, and we said amen.
Amen, man. We'll see you guys Monday morning, same bad time,
same bad place.
2 Men in Hats. Let's talk about it.
It's the Too Many Hats podcast with your host with the most, Tony and Lavelle. Every morning from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. We also have Queen Watkins with Clock That He. Tune in with us and have a great time. Let's talk about it right here. Too Many Hats podcast.